since this law came into being. And the government has consistently declined to comply with the requirement to disburse these funds, even where the parliament actually appropriates the money. Okay? Okay? But more critically, it is never appropriated. I'm sure you know. Okay? As a result of sailing, so-called, and Kimani Ichungwa is here, we share our budget, and now leader of majority. So what has been the reason why this money is not availed? Please help us understand, if the cure is only in entrenching it in the Constitution. Finally, on my part, is the ORPP. It's a very critical office. Very critical. And in fact, if you ask me, I wouldn't mind having it entrenched in the Constitution. But it must be reminded that its purpose is to protect political parties. Because our democracy is still very young. And most of our parties are vulnerable. So they need to be protected. And the office is at the center of the protection of these parties, and indeed of multi-party democracy. What do you make of the presence of the Political Parties Liaison Committee? Do you think its role so far has been satisfactory? Do you think there are things we can do to have it strengthened? Do you think its structure is proper? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I want to agree with you that we need to consider the entrenchment of that fund in the Constitution and the office. Kenya is a multi-party democracy, but as we speak, there's a serious threat to our multi-party democracy. One way of killing multi-party democracy is starving the political parties of funding. And what Honorable Piwanda is talking about has been there. There's been quite some deliberate attempt to not to disburse the funds and therefore not to finance political parties to be effective as vehicles through which Kenya as a country can realize its political aspirations. The second threat to democracy has been the issue of cannibalization of our political parties. There's a deliberate attempt to cannibalize political parties in our country. And the Jubilee Party has been the main target, as you are aware, ODM also, and other opposition parties. And we are not just talking of the opposition, but even in the ruling coalition itself, we know that there are parties like Ford Kenya and ANC that are in danger or that are being arm twisted to collapse into UDA. And we're in danger of actually Kenya going back to a single party state. Now, what I want to find out is, I've looked at your presentation. I've not seen much on party hopping. And this is where we are finding members of parliament moving to another party without going back to their base or their constituencies for a fresh mandate. And this happened before. There have been proposals here on how that can be dealt with in terms of returning hygiene to our politics. And that political hygiene can come from very clear provisions that if you move from your party, you're elected on this party, on this manifesto. If you are to go to another party, then you should resign and go back to the people for fresh election. What do you say about that and the proposals in amendment of the Political Parties Act to ensure that happens? Thank you.
Thank you, ORPP. I'll just pick up from where Honorable Eugene has ended on the rights of political parties vis-a-vis individual rights. You know, our constitution has been built amongst the most progressive constitutions, not just in Africa, but in the world. And part of what has made this constitution to be built as the most progressive was Article 4 of the Constitution of the Bill of Rights. I want to draw reference to Article 32 on the freedom of conscience, belief and opinion, where that says that every person has a right, either individually, in community, with others, in public or in private, to manifest any religion, belief, true worship, practice, all that, and a person shall not be compelled to act or engage in any act that is contrary to that person's belief or even religion. The same article, Article 4, on freedom of association, that every person has the right to freedom of association, which includes the right to form, join, or participate in activities of an association of any kind. That includes political parties. The same constitution, in Article 38, gives Kenyans individually political rights, that you have, every citizen is free to make political choices. That vis-a-vis the question of the rights of political parties, which to me are more of corporate rights. What, in your opinion, ORPP constitutionally has a higher ranking? Is it individual political rights for me as an individual, that I have the right to associate with whoever I want to associate? Or is it the question that has been spoken to as political sanity within political parties? Can I be forced to leave my party, UDA, today because, for instance, I have associated myself with a position that the leader of minority has taken in parliament, that as an individual I have made a choice, and probably could also be a matter of belief? Would you then say that my political party UDA's rights override my individual political rights and freedoms as enshrined under Article 4 of the Constitution? 2, you have spoken about a mix of the electoral system with what you're calling proportional representation and the first past the post. I'd really want to understand how exactly would that proportional representation cure the problem that we were trying to address with a group that was ahead of you called Gamawado, on the question of one man, one vote. Actually, just one man, one vote, even without going to shilling, since you are dealing with political offices, just to ensure that there is equitable representation, because I honestly believe that there should and there must be equitable representation, so that every member of parliament represents an equal, almost equal number of constituents, not the situation that we are in today, where you find a member of parliament who has been elected by 5,000 people and has the same voting rights, the same vote as another member, for instance, a member for Ruiru constituency who has been elected by 180,000 voters. And they have the same, the equality of the vote then is not there when it comes to representation. How then would this system that you're proposing of a mix cure that problem? You have something, Mishima?
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Catherine Wambilianga, member of this committee. Though I've come in late, but I'll make a few observations having gone through your list. I am totally in agreement with your proposal of fast-tracking the constitution of the IEBC. But on the other side, you have not given the criteria categorically on how you want this proposed. You're only proposing that a member of your ORPP should be there. But what about the other criteria? And secondly, you have also given this proposal, you're backing our proposal on the 2/3 gender role. Fine, you have said nothing about it. You have just said we do a multi-sectoral committee. Give us the proper details of what you mean by multi-sectoral. What is it, professional? What qualifications would you want to be included? Thank you.
And you don't have to give that all that now. You can still actually enrich your document after this.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So under 5 minutes, please respond.
Thank you. I will comment on a few and ask.
Sorry, there's one more issue from Honorable Kongo Mogeni.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Registrar, for your presentation. I just wanted to follow up from where Leader of Majority left, Honorable Kimani, Ichungwa, on this issue of political rights. And I think you are the right person to help us. You know how we construct our constitution. We promote its purpose, its values, its principles. Now, following from the question that has been posed by Honorable Ichungwa, our political rights, fundamental rights, can be limited as provided for in the Constitution. One of that limitation is in Article 103. You can belong to a party, you can be elected as a member of parliament, but there is that article that is entitled